Hello and welcome to another episode of Tiva Drive. And here in front of us is the brand new 2024 Polestar 2. And this is the top of the line version. So it's the all-wheel drive with the performance package. This is the third time we're driving it. First time when it just came out. Actually, it was a direct competitor to Tesla Model 3. That was even before the Model Y was launched. And now in order to compete with the Model Y, which arrived after it, these cars went through some major improvements, some just minor cosmetic, like this front grille is no longer a grille, it's basically a blanked out sheet of metal just with some sensors and a camera in front. Other than that, the design is almost the same. You still have the fog lamps in the upgraded versions, the same Thor's headlights. Thor's hammer headlights, like most of the Volvos. You can definitely see the family resemblance with the Volvos, Volvo sedans and Volvo SUVs. It's quite similar. This performance model is basically now equipped with the two motors. One in the front is about 150 horsepower, and in the back you have now 300 horsepower for a total of 450 horsepower, and the rated acceleration of 4.2 seconds, which is about 0.3 seconds better than a regular all-wheel drive, which is just over 400 horsepower. And the rear-wheel drive version, the single motor, used to be a front-wheel drive. Now it became rear-wheel drive, and it's much more powerful as well. So the base rear-wheel drive version is now 300 or 299 horsepower, so let's call it 300 horsepower. With the it's a full second slower, but it's basically quite a bit quicker than its nearest competition, the Tesla Model 3 in its rear-wheel drive version. The battery, basically in the all-wheel drive version and the performance version, is the same as it was before, which is the LG Chem supplied 82 gross 78 net kilowatt hour unit, which gives this car this particular performance version. Now the range has been improved and it's now 396 kilometers. The regular all-wheel drive is about 420. And then we also have the rear-wheel drive version, which is now a record 515 kilometers of AV range. The pricing of these cars, so the base car, the rear-wheel drive, starts at around 55,000, with the all-wheel drive about 62, and this top-of-the-line performance is now $68,000 Canadian. So let's show you the car from this side. You will see that there is 20-inch rims with tires on this car, and you can tell that this is a performance model by the Brembo brakes, which are golden color, matching the inside, seat belts inside the car. And this is how you can tell, one of the ways to tell the performance version from the regular all-wheel drive version. You can also see the stickers on all the Polestar cars. You have the Polestar 2, you have the battery size net 78 kilowatt hours, and then you have the power in kilowatts. So 335 kilowatts, it's about 450 horsepower. The interior has not changed. What has changed is the software has been upgraded many times, and the Google-based system now allows you to download more of the apps that you're used to on Android Auto. We just simply wish it was a regular Android Auto so we could use the same apps as we have on our phone. However, here you have a larger choice now. So things like TuneIn Radio, Plug Share, you also have Tubby Movie, you have YouTube, and the most important Waze, which we use all the time. Navigation on Waze is now it can be downloaded. You have to sign into your Google account, and then you can download it from Google Play Store. So the interior itself, let us again quickly show you the space inside the car. You have, of course, the two digital screens. I am now in a very comfortable position inside the car. You have the fixed glass screen, same as before. The base model does not get a glass roof, so it comes in one of the upgrade packages. The other thing that has changed is now that the all-wheel drive and performance models come standard with the Pilot Pack, which means that the auto steer and with adaptive cruise comes now standard with the all-wheel drive and with the performance versions of the car. Okay, so let us show you quickly the back space. And then the trunk will also show you the frunk in the front. Perhaps before we go to the back, let's show you the back space, and we'll show you the frunk and the trunk, so you have an idea of what to expect in terms of the size. So the space and size, it's a little bit tight, as you can see, because it's not quite an SUV. Some call it crossover. To me, it's just a tall sedan or tall hatchback. It's kind of height-wise, it's between Model 3 and Model Y. Definitely taller than the Model 3, but less tall than the Model Y. So the headroom here is not exactly the greatest. The sunroof ends before my head, so I'm touching the sunroof with the top of my head, and I'm 6'3" or 190 centimeters. The legroom is not the best for if you have a tall driver in the front to have another tall person in the back, so it's not the best of space. The vents are located in the center here. You have some heating for the rear seats, as well as a USB plug here for the rear passengers, and you have the two cup holders, very simple cup holders here, and again you have the gold seat belts telling you that this is a performance version of the car. Let us show you the trunk and front spaces now. So the car is equipped with the foot swipe function. I have the key inside, so it should open. Sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. There you go. So you have the unibrow here, and then we have basically the trunk with the rear seats 40-60 split. You have the bit of a space here under the trunk floor, and then another way to increase your trunk space is basically here. You have space for cables and such. It's very similar to the concept inside a Tesla Model 3 and Model Y, with extra storage space, quite a bit of extra storage space under the trunk floor. Let's go to the front now and show you the size of the front. And again, in this car, because it's available both in all-wheel drive and in rear-wheel drive now. So initially the single motor was a front-wheel drive. So the last review we did was actually on just before it was cancelled. We drove a front-wheel drive, which was less powerful than the current rear-wheel drive. So they switched from the front to the rear, which is, I think, it's a good decision. It also, the new rear-wheel drive is much more powerful. But then this is basically the top of the line, competing with Tesla Model Y performance. And in terms of the acceleration, the rated acceleration for the this Polestar is 4.2, as we said, compared to 3.7 for the Tesla Model Y. So this is the frunk for the all-wheel drive version. Now keep in mind that if you purchase the rear-wheel drive, the frunk will be larger. Kind of the same idea as Hyundai, Kia, Genesis. If you choose a single motor, the frunk becomes larger. So that's about it. Let's jump inside and take you for a spin and give you our impressions and statistics of our Hypermile and highway test. Okay, so here we are inside 2024 Polestar 2 Performance, top of the line version. So before we go into our impressions and trip statistics, let us kind of tell you an interesting fact about the Polestars, the different versions of it. So the all-wheel drive and performance versions are equipped with the LG Chem battery, which is 78 net, 82 gross, with a top charging speed of 155 kilowatts. Where strangely enough, the rear-wheel drive version is equipped with a CATL battery, which is larger. It's actually 82 net, and it charges up to 205 kilowatts, so much faster. So it's much longer range and much faster charging. So for road tripping, probably that's the model you would want to have, unless you're road tripping a lot in the winter, when you may be safer in an all-wheel drive car. But the Range Master, and we will be testing it hopefully soon, will be the rear-wheel drive version with now 300 horsepower, 5.5 second acceleration versus 4.2 for this one. But it is definitely a Range Master with 515 kilometer range versus 420 for the regular all-wheel drive and 395 for this performance version. Let's, having said that, you can see that right now at 100% the car is not on. In order to turn it on, just like the Volkswagen Audis, you press on the brake pedal and you put it in gear, and then the car automatically, there's no more start-stop button, you just press the brake pedal and put it in gear. Right now at 100% it's showing 370 kilometers. Now you have chance to you can display your range in two different ways. You can display the rated range, which would then show over 400 kilometers, or the actual estimated range based on your consumption, which we chose now, and that's why it's showing 370 kilometers, because we were pushing it quite a bit. It's hard not to push this car because it doesn't have an eco mode. It's only a one mode. The only thing you can help to increase the range is to put the climate in eco mode, but then in terms of the driving mode, there's only one driving mode, and that's pretty quick. So you have to be really delicate on the accelerator pedal because the acceleration is quite aggressive and is very sensitive. So if you want to extend your miles, you have to be really gentle on the accelerator pedal. Okay, so let's put it in gear. The car is on. The climate is off, but we'll probably turn it on because otherwise it's going to be too noisy. We'll close the windows. Now you can see that the one thing that we're always concerned about in cars with glass sunroofs without the blinds to cover them up, that it gets pretty hot inside pretty quickly. So I'm going to actually put, for the sake of our videographer in the back, I'm going to put the fan speed at medium. So that the interior doesn't heat up too much. We're not sure if Polestar provides, just like Tesla does, the manual cover. Same for the Jaguar I-Pace. There was a manual cover available for the, and that might be a good idea for you to get one if they have one available, because just like the Tesla Model 3, Model Y, the interior of the car overheats very quickly without the blind available for, electric blind available for the fixed glass sunroof, versus, for example, Kia Genesis and Hyundai, which have an electric blind that closes and it helps prevent overheating of the interior. Okay, so let's hit the road. Let's basically show you this. The statistics screen is here, and the range assistant, you can see all the apps here. Here's your Google Play Store where you can download all the apps. So we have the Google Maps, YouTube, Waze, the most important stuff. You can basically see Tubby, ChargePoint, PlugShare, and you can download many other apps. Then you can decrease the screen, and then the range assistant is right here. So you can get out of the history, so it shows you range and the current consumption. If you want the history, you hit this button, then you can view the last 20, last 40, last 100 kilometers. So right now it's showing 15.3. To reset the trip meter, you basically, the button is on the left here. There's no shift paddles. You can adjust the region. You can put the creep mode on or off, and then you have the two different settings for the region, strong or one pedal driving. So we of course prefer the one pedal driving, so that's what we have. And then the car remembers that your selection. So ever since we got this car, we turned off the creep and we put the region at max, giving us the full one pedal driving, which is the way we like it. So 450 horsepower, 4.2 seconds. Yes, it's half a second slower than the Tesla Model Y performance, but it is priced slightly under it. And then of course you have the size, which is kind of a lower than Model Y, higher than Model 3. And you have the normal digital dashboard in front of you, plus the center screen. Surprisingly enough, there is no head-up display here. You have the Harman Kardon system here with the stereo, which is amazing sound system. With the surround, of course, with all the Volvos and Polestar cars you have, you can go for the upgraded sound system, which I highly recommend because it's quite something. So we're gonna take it easy, and then we're gonna try and launch the car in the usual spot. What we'll just tell you is quickly the stats of our hypermile test and also the highway test, and they were both pretty impressive. And this is where the huge change from the first generation of this car comes, is not really in the looks. The acceleration is still very similar. the biggest change is in efficiency and range. The original cars were basically rated at low to mid 300s. Now you have the worst range, which is this performance car, is just under 400, with the all-wheel drive going up to about 420. And then the Range Master with the bigger battery, the rear-wheel drive, 300 horsepower equipped car, is now at 515, and that, according to what we experienced, should be doable. So here in this car, what did we get? Quite impressive consumption on the highway, because we got the consumption down using the middle to left lane speed on the highway 400. Yes, it was a Friday rush hour traffic, but there were no slowdowns because we left the city early on the way to Judgment Bay. So, and the consumption on the pure highway consumption was only 16.8, which is amazing. Now, the reason why this car is so efficient on the highway is because it's capable of disconnecting the front motor. When it doesn't need the power, it disconnects the front motor. It only acts as a rear-wheel drive. It becomes a rear-wheel drive 300 horsepower car instead of the all-wheel drive car, and that's why basically you're able to get these great results for efficiency and range. So that kind of a highway consumption would give you about 450 kilometer highway range, which is much more than the rated. And in the city, we got the consumption down as much as 12.8 kilowatt hours per 100. So that's very impressive. That's super impressive. So this is where the big change came from the first gen car that was launched here in Canada, even before the Model Y. So it was, at that time, it was competing against Model 3, and it was competing successfully because Model 3, as you know, is a sedan with a regular trunk, where this car is a hatchback, so it's much more practical, and it also gives you a slightly higher driving position. So let's bring it to a full stop and try and launch it for you here. So there we go, and let's go. So yes, again, it's not that sub 4 second acceleration that some of the recent cars that we drove, like a GV60 Performance or the BMW iX60M. It's not a sub 4 second acceleration, but this is really quick enough. 4.2, it's a great result. If you don't care about that half second difference, it's a very valid competitor to the Tesla Model Y. Personally, we would likely prefer it because we like being able to control more of the things. First of all, to have a regular dashboard. Not everything is jammed onto the center screen. There's not too many buttons here, so a lot of functions are still controlled through the center screen, but at least you have the dashboard here where you have your speed, your consumption, the range remaining. You can have the map and the navigation right here on the dashboard. All in all, huge improvement over the first generation of this car. Pricing is competitive, performance is competitive. In fact, the rear-wheel drive model, I think, is ahead of Tesla Model 3 and Model Y. So it is definitely, if you don't need the all-wheel drive, that would be the car, in our opinion, that you should go for. Go and test drive it and compare the two, and I think it's gonna come out very favorably against Model 3 or Model Y. Some of the other competition from Korean cars such as Kia Genesis, Hyundai, the car does not have the fastest charging speeds. Again, this car is 155, the rear-wheel drive is 205, and then the Polestar 3 that hopefully we'll get to test later this year with even bigger battery, 111 kilowatt hour battery. That car is capable of charging at 250 kilowatts. So that's becoming very competitive with the Korean competition, not to mention Porsche Taycan and the likes. So great improvement. Go and check them out. Pricing is competitive, performance is competitive, the range is now finally competitive as well. So there's really no reason for you not to at least consider this car and compare it with some of the other cars. Plus, lately we have shared from Polestar that they have great lease deals available. For example, the base rear-wheel drive car is now available at a low lease rate and low monthly payment of $400 per month. So go and visit the Polestar dealership. They were located, you can do it all online, or you can go into the boutique at Yorkville at 55 Avenue Road. Go test drive it, check it out, and check out their lease deals, and that's a 24-month lease actually. So quite a few of our followers and friends went for that deal because it's simply just such a great deal, much better than the lease rates on Teslas and some of the other cars. So definitely worth considering. So that's about it. If you have any questions about the test for this car or the previous front-wheel drive that we drove, and hopefully soon we'll get to drive the new rear-wheel drive and also the Polestar 3. So the company's great future ahead of it. There will also be followed by a Polestar 4, the famous one without the back window. So we're very curious about that one. Even higher performance, longer range, etc., etc. So a lot of exciting cars coming from Polestar. And of course from Volvo, its sister company Volvo, there will be an EX90 and EX30, both of them launched later this year. So there'll be lots more cars to test later this year from Volvo and Polestar companies, both of them being owned by the Chinese Geely corporation. So thanks again for watching. Don't hesitate to comment, and if you have any questions. And then, as usual, do not forget to press the subscribe button on our channel to be informed when the next video is available. And here for the end of our video, let's try, we're now a higher speed limit, so we can step on it again, and boom, beautiful acceleration. Thanks for watching. See you at the next review.